Have you ever found yourself listening to a piece of music that wasn't just sound, but felt more like a story? Like it had this deep philosophy, maybe even, invited you on some kind of personal journey.
Yeah, that feeling of immersion.
Exactly. Well, today we're embarking on a deep dive into precisely that kind of experience. We're taking, a vibrant bass-heavy journey into the recent album of an artist known simply as J.I.M. Specifically, his compelling new work, J.I.M Finds the Frequency.
That's right. And our mission today really is to unpack what makes this mythic archetype of J.I.M, that's journey, ingenuity, and mystique, such a compelling framework for the storytelling within this album.
Okay.
We'll be exploring how J.I.M uses this framework, this J.I.M thing, to build this whole world. And then, crucially, we're going to connect it back to his previous debut, Mandala Melodies, to see, how his artistic narrative has evolved. It's quite a shift.
Right. And we've pulled together a pretty comprehensive stack of sources for this deep dive. We've got everything from detailed album descriptions, some fascinating insights from the artist himself about the artwork, which is something else, but all the way down to a really granular look at the lyrics, song by song. It's all designed to give you, the listener, a genuine shortcut to getting up to speed on this really fascinating musical world.
Absolutely. It's a lot to get into.
So let's jump in. Let's start decoding the layers of J.I.M's artistry. Okay, so before we really dive headfirst into J.I.M Finds the Frequency, let's try and get a handle on the creative force behind it all. Who exactly is J.I.M? Our sources paint a picture of a really multifaceted individual. He describes himself in some incredibly intriguing ways, things like contemplative visionary, strategist,
right,
an ecstatic technician of the sacred.
That one's evocative.
Isn't it? Also an analyst, artist, seeker, and even a sonic alchemist. And then you have the artistic monikers, like J.I.M. He's no ordinary cat. And the album title itself, J.I.M Finds the Frequency.
Yeah.
What did these descriptions immediately signal to you about his approach to music, maybe to his own identity?
Well, what's really striking, I think, is how these descriptions immediately go beyond, your standard artist bio. They lay the groundwork for something much bigger.
Okay.
When J.I.M calls himself a contemplative visionary and strategist, it speaks to an artist who's operating with real intention, deep intention.
Right, not just throwing things at the wall.
Exactly. This isn't just random creativity. There's this thoughtful, almost architectural feel to his work. He's not just writing songs, he's building these worlds of meaning where every sound, every lyric feels deliberate, like it's placed within a grander design. And that phrase, ecstatic technician of the sacred, that's really interesting. It bridges the methodical, the technical with the divine, the sacred.
Yeah.
It suggests his process isn't just about skill, but it's almost like a spiritual practice. Like he's channeling these profound, maybe transcendent truths into the music, finding the sacred in the craft.
Huh. Like the technique itself is part of the sacredness.
Precisely. It imbues the music with the spiritual weight. And then, of course, Sonic Alchemist kind of ties it all together, doesn't it? Taking raw sounds, raw experiences, and transmuting them, turning them into something new, something empowering.
Okay.
So these descriptions, they're not just marketing fluff. They position him less as just a musician and more as a kind of philosophical explorer. A guide almost, inviting you into this narrative that goes beyond the album.
Right.
He's this multifaceted creator who just doesn't fit into a simple box. And that really sets the stage for the depth we find in the J.I.M archetype.
The deep intention, you can really feel it. And that leads us perfectly into the core concept for this deep dive. The J.I.M archetype. Journey, ingenuity, mystique. You introduced it. How exactly does this framework help us decode his work? And more importantly, what does it mean for us listening?
Okay, so the J.I.M archetype, it's more than just, J.I.M. It's a narrative blueprint, something J.I.M crafted to define the essence, the story of this latest album. But here's the crucial part. It's presented not just as his story, the artist's story.
Right.
It's presented as an odyssey for you, the listener. It's designed to be this compelling character arc that kind of transcends J.I.M himself and invites you into this deeper reflection. And it gives us a lens, really, to understand our own experiences, growth, problem solving, self-expression, all that stuff.
Okay, so let's break it down then, component by component, starting with journey, the J. How is J.I.M defining that?
Well, the journey in J.I.M, it's not just about a physical trip, obviously. It's much more about a profound, often challenging internal quest. The album description actually calls it a path through doubt and shadow toward clarity and creation.
Okay, doubt and shadow. That feels very real.
Exactly. And what's really vital here, I think, is that the archetype is explicitly stated as No larger-than-life hero, but a humble seeker.
Ah, okay, so not some epic fantasy hero.
No, exactly. It immediately reframes that whole traditional heroic thing. Instead of, overt strength or big conquests, Jim emphasizes the internal stuff, exploration, resilience, that patient, sometimes lonely pursuit of wisdom and truth. It's about facing challenges, not with a superhero cape, but with an open heart, a sharp mind, and just this willingness to learn and adapt.
That makes it feel much more accessible, doesn't it?
Totally. It makes the journey incredibly relatable. It reflects that universal thing of navigating uncertainty, growing, discovering yourself. It's like the daily courage of looking inward and evolving.
Right. Very grounded, even with the cosmic elements we might get into later. Okay, next up, ingenuity, the I. How does that show up in this archetype?
Ingenuity speaks right to the creative act itself, but also, maybe more broadly, to the cleverness, the resourcefulness you need to navigate that internal journey we just talked about.
Okay.
Jim, described as a creator who weaves empowerment and wisdom into every note, really embodies this. It's about finding smart, authentic, sometimes unconventional ways to express yourself and to get past obstacles, both internal and external. The album talks about finding that unique resonance where creativity and authenticity align. So it's not just about being smart in an academic sense. It's about being inventive, adaptable, truly resourceful in how you approach life, approach art.
Like the Sonic Alchemist idea again.
Exactly. It ties right back to that. Skillfully combining different elements, sounds, emotions, ideas to create something new, something powerful. It's that ability to innovate, to problem solve, and to actually bring your unique vision into the world, whether that's a song or just figuring out your own life path.
Okay, so we have the seeker's path journey.
Right.
And the intelligent, creative navigation ingenuity. And finally, the M, the more, alluring aspect, mystique. How does that complete the picture?
Mystique is that enigmatic quality, isn't it? That quiet intelligence, that powerful, almost magnetic presence that doesn't need to shout to be felt.
Right.
It's described really vividly as the spy who moves unseen, leaving only the echo of their brilliance, which is such a cool image.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not about being mysterious just for the sake of it. It's more about this deep confidence, this inherent power that doesn't need to be flaunted.
Okay.
It's the magnetism of someone who's genuinely authentic, self-possessed. Their presence resonates subtly, It suggests hidden depth, the wisdom that comes through in quiet observations, subtle actions. It draws you in through real intrigue, not just surface flash.
So it's a confidence that doesn't need to perform.
Exactly. It's knowing your power so well, you don't need to prove it. So together, these three elements, journey, ingenuity, and mystique, they form this complete, dynamic, really compelling character arc. It defines the album's story, and by extension, it defines the transformative journey you're invited on as a listener.
It feels very holistic.
It is. It's a view of this powerful yet relatable person, constantly evolving and kind of nudging you to do the same.
That is a truly comprehensive framework.
Okay.
Okay, now let's shift focus and really dive into Jim Finds the Frequency, the album where this J.I.M. archetype properly comes alive.
Right.
Released summer 2025,
Right.
right? And the description paints this really vivid musical picture. It's a pulsating heart of 70s funk, electrified R&B, and this sexy spy groove.
Yeah, that spy groove is key.
So how did these stylistic choices shape the album's sound? And more importantly, how do they actually connect back to that J.I.M. concept you just laid out so well?
Okay, well, the stylistic choices in Jim Finds the Frequency feel incredibly deliberate. They really align perfectly with the J.I.M. archetype, creating this whole sonic world for its narrative.
Right.
So when we hear it described as a vibrant, bass-heavy journey, those bass lines, they aren't just there for rhythm or, a catchy hook. They are the literal grounding force for the journey part of J.I.M.
Oh, okay. The foundation.
Exactly. Imagine these deep, often sustained bass lines, maybe a walking bass that subtly pushes things forward, or this really rich sub-bass you feel more than hear. It's not just a pulse, it's this foundational, continuous movement through the story. It gives you this sense of steady progress through the album's emotional, philosophical landscape. It's like the unshakable ground the whole Odyssey is built on.
That makes sense. And what about the other sounds? You mentioned fierce vocals, wisdom-soaked harmonies, that specific retro organ groove. How do they fit into the J.I.M. story?
Right, precisely. Those elements, the fierce vocals, wisdom-soaked harmonies, and retro organ groove, they're absolutely crucial. They convey that confident mystique and the kind of embedded wisdom in the J.I.M. archetype.
Okay. The vocals, called fierce, speak to that unapologetic authenticity, that raw power the album celebrates. It's the courage needed to be vulnerable, to be true. These aren't just loud vocals, they have conviction, this unflinching honesty. And the harmonies, described as wisdom-soaked, they're not just pretty sounds. They're often complex, layered, designed to hint at deeper truths. Almost like ancient knowledge being sung into existence, drawing you into the album's philosophical heart. And then that retro organ groove, probably a Hammond B3 sound, with that swirly Leslie speaker effect.
Yeah, that distinctive sound.
Described as swaying like a secret agent in the shadows that connects directly to the mystique element. It evokes this quiet intrigue, a slick, almost clandestine elegance underpinning the J.I.M. persona, suggests depth, hidden layers.
So it's really painting a picture with sound.
Totally. This isn't just background music, it's immersive, crafted to make you feel like you're part of this whole funkadelic spy narrative where every sound pulses with intention. It invites you to find your own resonance, your own expression of J.I.M.
Wow.
The blend creates this atmosphere that's both empowering and, subtly alluring, celebrating individuality, that raw fire of being true to yourself.
Okay, moving beyond the sound.
Yeah.
The album's artwork. It's genuinely audacious, isn't it? It makes this huge visual statement.
It really does.
It features a man and a woman who we can probably read as J.I.M. and his beloved, right?
He's likely, yeah.
Nude. In this kind of celestial but also digital-looking expanse, bathed in cosmic light, and there's this glowing blue lotus right at the front. This is clearly way more than just album art. It feels like a whole narrative itself. How do you start to dissect the symbolism here, especially thinking about J.I.M.?
You're right. It's audacious, but like you said, it's far from just being provocative for shock value. The nudity here, it feels elevated. It's presented as this statement of radical authenticity.
Yeah.
Jim's vision of shedding not just clothes, but all the societal masks, the expectations, embodying vulnerability as a kind of power, a rebellion against shame almost.
So vulnerability is power, not weakness.
Exactly. It's not about being bare just to shock. It's about being utterly transparent, almost confrontational in its honesty. And that aligns perfectly with the album's core theme of unapologetic authenticity. It suggests that real power starts when you reveal your true self.
And the setting itself, this mix of the celestial and the digital, what's that telling us?
That celestial digital expanse, I think it represents Jim's really big vision. He describes it as a divine realm where my journey unfolds, connecting the earthly to the infinite. So that speaks directly to the boundless, transcendent nature of the journey component of J.I.M. It's not some small, mundane path stuck on Earth. It encompasses cosmic understanding, spiritual transcendence, even this modern digital consciousness.
Right.
It suggests the quest for truth stretches beyond the physical into this universal, interconnected awareness, blending ancient wisdom with, contemporary life.
And then there's that really striking blue lotus. It feels like this symbolic anchor for the whole image, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It anchors the whole thing. The blue lotus, it's a deeply powerful symbol in Buddhism, wisdom, non-duality, truth.
Okay.
So putting it there, rising pure from the mud, becomes this potent visual summary of J.I.M.'s whole philosophy. It's not just a journey towards clarity, but one that actively transforms the mud itself. The doubt, the shadow, the challenges, the messy parts of life into the wisdom and creation we're seeking.
So it embraces the struggle, it doesn't just bypass it?
Precisely. It grounds the album in this spiritual pursuit that acknowledges and integrates life's messiness rather than just trying to float above it. It offers a really relatable path to enlightenment, emphasizing growth from within the struggle. It really anchors the album's soul.
It's also fascinating that the artist mentioned the technical difficulty in actually creating this image. Does that connect back to J.I.M. as well?
Oh, that's a crucial detail. And yes, it directly highlights the ingenuity aspect of the archetype.
Oh, so.
Jim mentioned that blending those sharp human forms with a vibrant, otherworldly background was, quote, insanely tough.
Right.
That artistic struggle isn't just a footnote about production. It's like a meta-commentary on the whole funkadelic quest to find the frequency where creativity and truth align.
Ah, okay. The process reflects the theme.
Exactly. It speaks to the immense ingenuity, the effort required in the creative process itself, the skill, the perseverance, the problem solving, the cleverness needed to navigate complex artistic challenges. It validates that the journey towards truth and authenticity, it's rarely easy. But the triumph lies in that resourceful dedication to bring the vision to life. So that visual invitation to embrace your own raw essence, it really hits home. It prompts us to think about how our own journeys demand we shed pretense, face our truths, recognizing that vulnerability isn't weakness, but actually a profound source of power.
Wow. Okay, so beyond the visual and the auditory, Jim finds the frequency, pushes things even further. It introduces this unique sensory element, a dedicated J.I.M. fragrance.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
It's described as a luxurious scent that captures the album's spy groove mystique. Now, is it just clever marketing, or does it actually deepen the whole J.I.M. experience for the listener?
I really think it's more than just marketing. It feels like an undeniable and frankly brilliant extension of the album's spirit. It profoundly reinforces that mystique element, but in a multisensory way.
How so?
Well, the fragrance notes are deliberately chosen to evoke quiet confidence and rarefied allure. Think about it. Real mystique isn't just what you hear or see explicitly, right?
Right.
It's more like an undeniable presence, a subtle influence that kind of lingers after you've encountered it. A fragrance, by its nature, is something you perceive on this deeper, often subconscious level. You don't explicitly define it, much like true mystique.
Ah, okay. That's a great point.
It creates this immersive experience where authenticity lingers, like a melody or a memory. This multi-sensory tie-in really underscores the album's commitment to wrapping listeners in its world. Every element, the grooves, the artwork, now even a scent pulses with intention.
So it makes the J.I.M. archetype feel more tangible.
Exactly, not just a concept to think about, but a lived sensory reality. It solidifies this holistic embodiment of its qualities.
It's truly fascinating how he weaves these different mediums together, creates such a cohesive universe. But the real heart, of course, is the music itself. Let's finally dive into the lyrical tapestry of Jim Finds the Frequency and see how this J.I.M. odyssey unfolds track by track. Let's maybe start by focusing on the journey aspect.
Okay, sounds good. The album kicks off, fittingly, with Find the Frequency, song 01. And this really serves as the foundational track for the whole seeker's journey.
Sets the stage.
Completely. The lyrics immediately establish Jim as that sonic alchemist we talked about. Lines like, Jim's got his hands on the keys tonight, working that sound till it feels just right, and making sonic magic can't be denied.
Right.
It explicitly talks about finding a secret that few understand, which is Jim's metaphor for, pure energy, truth, alignment. And the chorus is particularly powerful. It's almost a mantra for the whole album's philosophy. I am the endless measure, the formless treasure of this world. When I find the frequency, that's when the music unfurls.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
Isn't it? It encapsulates the core of the seeker's journey, not just for a sound, but for ultimate truth, for connection, for that fundamental resonance that reveals the world's hidden beauty and lets creation truly happen. It sets up this quest for understanding and deep personal alignment.
So that track lays out the artist's own journey.
Yeah.
How does that then extend to the listener? Does it acknowledge their search?
Yes, definitely. The journey is powerfully aimed right at you, the listener, in Treasure in the Static, Song 09.
Okay.
The lyrics tap into that universal experience of searching, of that internal noise and confusion. You've been searching for something you can't even name, walking through the static of your own brain.
Relatable.
Very. And this is where Jim positions himself not just as an artist, but as a guide. He offers a solution to that restlessness. Find the frequency. That's where your heart belongs. It's this empathetic nod to feeling lost, but you're right where you should be, standing at the edge of possibility.
I like that line. Edge of possibility.
Yeah. It highlights the potential in the journey where confusion can give way to clarity once you find your authentic inner frequency. It's this profound invitation to embrace the present, even the uncertain parts, because it's a necessary step towards self-discovery.
And if those tracks define the search, the quest, what about the endpoint? The culmination of that internal journey, where does all that seeking lead?
The internal culmination, that sense of clarity and peace, is beautifully captured in Letting Go, Song 14.
Okay.
The lyrics describe this profound internal shift, the surrender and liberation, moving through the air like water, a state where the mind just stops its racing and time melts away somehow.
Ah, that feeling of flow.
Exactly. It speaks to the serenity, the clarity you reach when you truly surrender to the journey, let go of resistance, embrace acceptance, the repeated phrase, I can feel it now, and then the ultimate affirmation in the outro, I've found the frequency, signifies arriving at that state of inner peace, deep understanding.
The payoff.
It's the ultimate payoff of the seeker's quest, that internal alignment that dissolves the doubt, cuts through the static, and allows for true, unburdened creation.
That brings a really nice sense of completion to the journey aspect.
Yeah.
Now, Let's switch gears slightly and explore how Ingenuity, the I of J.I.M, is woven into these lyrics. We could even revisit Find the Frequency for this, couldn't we?
Absolutely. In Find the Frequency, Song 01, beyond its role in setting up the journey, the lyrics explicitly highlight J.I.M's creative and technical mastery, the essence of ingenuity.
Right.
Lines like, I'm mixing up the alchemy, call it sonic fusion, and I take the frequency and bend it to my will, directly showcase that sonic alchemy. The artist's ability to manipulate sound with precision, with purpose.
So it's not just finding it, but actively shaping it.
Exactly. This isn't just discovery. It's active creation, shaping, mastering your medium. It's pure creative ingenuity in action, demonstrates the skill, the foresight, the cleverness needed to bring his unique vision into being.
And beyond the specifically musical ingenuity, are there tracks that showcase more of that strategic thinking? The problem-solving side, reflecting that strategist persona he claims.
Oh, for sure. Groove in the Clear, Psalm 06, is a really prime example of the intellectual, strategic side of J.I.M's ingenuity.
Okay.
The lyrics focus on finding clarity, I find, and this keen ability to read the room, sort it out. This isn't just about making music. It's about navigating life with precision, with perception, clear-headedness. Phrases like logic sharp, got nowhere to hide, really illustrate J.I.M's analytical power, his ability to move with purpose, demonstrating intelligent, thoughtful action. It's about being deliberate, incisive, perceptive, using your mind as a tool to navigate complexity, whether artistic or interpersonal.
And is there a track that pushes that ingenuity even further? Maybe something bordering on the intuitive, almost telepathic?
Definitely. Mind Reader, Song 13, feels like it exemplifies that heightened, intuitive, analytical ingenuity.
Okay, Mind Reader.
Yeah. J.I.M's described ability to see what others fear, to tune into the frequency that connects me to your mind, and having this special vision that cuts through all the noise, that goes way beyond just being observant or clever.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense.
It speaks to a profound understanding of human nature, right? A capacity for deep insight that feels almost prescient. This is a powerful form of ingenuity, anticipating, understanding motivations, perceiving hidden truths. It's about mental sharpness combined with empathic connection, allowing J.I.M to navigate the human landscape like a master strategist, really understanding the inner workings of the world.
Okay, so we've explored the seeker's path, journey, and the intelligent creation, ingenuity. Now let's unravel the mystique element. This is where that sexy spy groove you mentioned earlier really seems to come into play.
Indeed. And is that all you see? Song 02 kicks this off immediately, setting up that enigmatic, thought-provoking nature of J.I.M. The song challenges superficiality. Right. It urges the listener to look deeper. Lines like, do you see the surface or just pretend? And the provocative, less about bodies, more about proof.
Interesting.
It invites this connection that goes beyond the obvious, pushes you to engage with something more profound, more authentic. It establishes the archetype's allure by being intriguing rather than flashy, leaves you with a question that kind of lingers, hinting at that hidden depth.
And Slow Burn, Song 03, feels really central to this idea of subtle yet undeniable power, doesn't it?
Oh, Slow Burn is perhaps the quintessential Mystique track. It describes this quiet, inherent power and almost effortless command. Lyrics like, no shouting, no proof, just a quiet command and moving with unyielding grace.
Right.
The infectiousness of the unconflicted's embrace suggests this magnetic attraction born from deep inner peace, radical authenticity, someone just at ease with themselves. Phrases like, I smile like a secret only starlight would know, and truth hums in my blood, carved deep in my bones, speak to this profound, intrinsic mystique that doesn't need outside validation. It's almost primal.
And that outro.
Yeah, the powerful voice in the outro, provocatively stating, darling, let's fuck and spark the heavens tonight. I'm the fire that will raise you, your celestial light. That just reinforces this confidence, this magnetism, reveals this potent, almost divine allure that comes from a completely unshackled soul.
Wow.
It's about an internal fire radiating outwards, drawing others in not through force, but through pure, unadulterated presence.
That's a really powerful image, that inner fire.
Yeah.
What about the mix of sensuality and intellect within this mystique? Does that come to in the lyrics too?
That tension is beautifully captured in Red Silk Clarity, Song 04.
Okay.
The juxtaposition of bare skin on red silk alongside sparse words but all clear speaks to a mystique that's both sensual and intensely intelligent.
Like the contrast.
Yeah. The quiet dare, the desire for clarity over confusion, and that raw line, fuck all the confusion, just keep it close, embodies this complex, alluring directness. It's an unapologetic embrace of desires and truths, but intertwined with a sharp intellect, demanding real connection over superficial noise. It's this bold, sensual confidence that just cuts through.
And how about a more maybe overt yet still controlled display of power and sensuality? A track that really embodies the archetype in a dynamic way.
Power Play, Psalm 07, definitely fits that description. It paints this picture of a storm in a power suit who then unwinds when close.
Okay.
This track demonstrates an overt but perfectly controlled sensuality and power. The lyrical shift from boardroom queen to wild heart reveals this hidden mystique, this layered identity commanding in public, intimately vulnerable in private.
The duality.
Exactly. And the line, "No rules when I pursue," hints at this compelling, maybe slightly dangerous allure, showcasing a dynamic magnetism that's both professional and intensely personal. It's the revelation of that powerful, sensual self beneath the composed exterior, true mystique encompassing all facets.
What's really interesting about this archetype, though, is it doesn't seem to be only about Jim. I noticed Who You Are, Song 08, is also listed under Mystique, but it feels like it's talking to the listener, not about Jim himself. How does that fit if it's not directly about the artist?
That's a fantastic point, and it's really crucial for understanding how J.I.M. extends beyond the artist to you. Who You Are is basically an empowering ode celebrating your own innate mystique.
Oh.
Lines like, "Something different, something found, quiet power in your voice, and mind like fire, heart like steel," they validate the listener's inherent value, their unique presence. It directly reinforces the idea that you don't need to prove nothing to nobody because your true self, your authentic essence, already has that captivating mystique.
So it's an invitation.
Exactly. An invitation to recognize and embrace your own J.I.M. qualities, your quiet power, your unique way of being, the magnetic pull of your unvarnished self. It kind of decentralizes the archetype, makes it universally accessible.
This is all so incredibly cohesive. It almost feels like the album isn't just embodying the archetype, but it's directly defining it for us.
It absolutely is. J.I.M., that's the name, Song 10, is incredibly explicit about defining the archetype. It's almost like a lyrical manifesto.
Right.
The chorus directly addresses who J.I.M. represents. For the seekers and wise, with minds like stars and watchful eyes, and those who never just go, they discover, they decode, they burn bright.
Wow, okay. Laying it all out.
Totally. This track clearly states the qualities, the curiosity, the inner light, the proactive drive to explore and understand, not just passively exist. It's this proud declaration of the archetype's essence, inviting listeners to see themselves in those traits.
And then, remarkably, the actual fragrance gets its own song. That's just an unparalleled level of immersion.
It is, isn't it? J.I.M., The Fragrance, Song 11, beyond the obvious marketing link, further reinforces the mystique by highlighting that intangible, undeniable presence.
Right.
Lines like, "There's a mystery you hold, stories that ain't been told," speak to that quiet allure, those hidden depths that define true mystique. It's about an undeniable presence that lingers, a subtle power that doesn't need to be loud or flashy to be felt.
Right.
This track solidifies the concept of J.I.M. as this pervasive, almost atmospheric quality, something you experience fundamentally, not just observe. It's that lingering echo of brilliance we talked about.
So all these elements, journey, ingenuity, mystique, they culminate in finding this personal truth, this authenticity.
Yeah.
How does the album then bring people together on that found path, create a collective experience out of it?
That's where the unifying frequency comes in, and it really culminates in We're Dancing on the Same Frequency, Song 12. This track is the ultimate expression of connection, the kind achieved when that frequency is found by multiple people, leading to perfect harmony. It speaks to the profound vulnerability involved. Let your guard come tumbling down, signifying true intimacy, true alignment. Mm-hmm. It's about mutual understanding, shared resonance, where individual journeys converge into this collective experience of bliss and unity. It's that moment where personal truth becomes a shared reality.
And if that's the beautiful expression of connection, what's the deepest, most profound exploration of truth and sensuality within that interconnected state?
That would have to be Cosmic Bliss, Song 15, the album's really powerful closer.
Okay.
This track explores the deepest levels of connection, sensuality, and unvarnished truth. Lyrics like lust and truth, no masquerade, hearts and bodies, a cosmic kiss, and the crucial line, truth ain't sinful when nothing's denied. It reveals this profound integration of the spiritual and the physical, the intellectual and the sensual. It ties the intensely personal journey of the J.I.M. archetype to this universal blissful state where authenticity and desire aren't just accepted, they're celebrated as divine, interconnected.
So it dissolves those old conflicts.
Exactly. It's the ultimate realization of J.I.M.'s ethos. Finding freedom, transcendence, and profound connection by embracing your whole self without shame, without pretense, dissolving all those false dualities.
That's an incredibly rich, detailed, and really expansive journey through Jim Finds the Frequency. You've really helped us understand how that J.I.M. archetype is just woven into every single layer of the album.
It really is quite layered.
But before this grand statement, Jim released his first album, right? Mandala Melodies, Funky Beats for Non-Dual Exploration, back in summer 2024.
That's correct, his debut.
How does this first album compare to the elaborate world we've just explored in Jim Finds the Frequency? What was Jim's initial artistic vision there?
Well, Mandala Melodies serves as this beautiful and I think essential first chapter in Jim's narrative. It lays a broader philosophical foundation.
Okay.
Its core is described as a joyful musical journey into the realms of cosmic harmony and spiritual awakening. So the focus there is explicitly on universal wisdom, exploring the boundless expanse of consciousness and that profound concept of non-duality.
Right, the idea that everything is connected.
Exactly. The idea that seemingly separate things are fundamentally one, like waves in the ocean. It's presented as a sonic exploration of the mind, body, and spirit. Musically, it's a vibrant fusion of rhythmic beats and soulful melodies, crafted to elevate your mood and expand your consciousness.
No, the invitation is different.
Yeah, the invitation in Mandala Melodies is more about surrendering to the present moment, immersing fully in the dance of life, tapping into infinite wisdom. Its overarching message is really a celebration of unity and the interconnectedness of all things. So while Jim Finds the Frequency dives into this very specific, embodied archetypal journey, J.I.M. Mandala Melodies lays a broader, more generalized spiritual foundation, emphasizing the collective, the universal aspects of consciousness. It's a journey of transcendence that feels maybe more abstract, inviting you to sort of dance your way to awakening by letting go of boundaries and embracing oneness.
Okay, so let's put them side by side now. What are the clear points of continuity between Mandala Melodies and Jim Finds the Frequency? Where do we see Jim's consistent voice, his enduring themes?
Yeah, despite their different approaches, there are definitely clear, resonant threads connecting both albums. Firstly, and maybe most obviously, both absolutely embrace funky music. They both present these vibrant, soulful sonic landscapes. That's unmistakably Jim's signature sound, right?
Definitely, you can hear the lineage.
Yeah, that dedication to the groove, that soulful sound, it runs through both. Crucially, both albums are fundamentally about a journey of self-discovery, internal exploration. Now, the nature of that journey shifts, as we'll get into, but the underlying theme of looking inward, seeking understanding, that remains constant. Both albums also hint at deeper spiritual or philosophical stuff. Mandala Melodies is explicit with non-duality and cosmic harmony. Jim Finds the Frequency is maybe more subtle, but it's there with the blue lotus, cosmic bliss, the pursuit of unvarnished truth.
Right.
And finally, both albums clearly aim to empower you, the listener. They invite active engagement. They want to transform you from just a passive recipient into a participant in the experience. They're both calls to immerse yourself and find personal meaning in their sound worlds.
That consistent core is definitely evident. But okay, where do we see the key distinctions? The evolution and his artistry, his narrative. What are the big shifts between the debut and this latest work?
I think the primary and maybe the most compelling distinction is that shift from the universal to the individual.
Okay, how so?
Mandala Melodies really focuses on that expansive universal wisdom, the oneness of existence, transcending boundaries. It offers this broader collective spiritual experience. It's about dissolving the self into this shared cosmic consciousness in a way.
Right.
Jim Finds the Frequency, though, marks this profound shift to a much more personal, embodied, individualized experience. It's all about finding your own unique frequency, becoming a fierce celebration of individuality. The invitation there is intensely personal. Shed pretense and step into your own journey with swagger and wisdom. It emphasizes your unique resonance, your authentic expression, rather than a generalized universal thing.
So it narrows the focus, in a way, from the big picture to the personal.
Exactly, from the macro to the micro, from the abstract universal to the concrete personal embodiment of truth. It's a fascinating shift.
So you mentioned Mandala Melodies aim for that abstract transcendence, while Jim Finds the Frequency seems to ground those spiritual ideas in something more tangible, more personal.
Precisely. Mandala Melodies mostly emphasizes a transcendent adventure, the boundless expanse of consciousness, which is beautiful, but it stays somewhat, ethereal, abstract.
Right.
In contrast, J.I.M finds the frequency masterfully brings that spiritual and intellectual journey right down into a tangible, sensual, confidently embodied realm. You see it in the sexy spy groove sound. You see it in the raw vulnerability of the artwork. You hear it in the explicit lyrics about lust and truth, cosmic bliss with bodily connection. And formalizing the J.I.M archetype itself makes this journey more defined, more relatable, more human. It moves from an abstract idea of transcendence to an embodied, lived expression of it.
It feels like a maturation.
It really does,
Yeah.
from conceptual understanding to tangible experience.
And the archetype itself, J.I.M, was that implicitly there in Mandala Melodies, even if it wasn't named?
That's a good question. While Mandala Melodies definitely has themes of wisdom, seeking, inner harmony, it doesn't explicitly frame them around a named archetype or a specific character persona like J.I.M. There isn't that defined guide leading you through it in the same way. J.I.M finds the frequency, on the other hand, formalizes it, concretizes it with J.I.M.
Right, gives it a name.
Exactly. And that deliberate naming gives the listener this specific lens to understand and experience the narrative. Makes it much more focused, more coherent, more character-driven. It creates this relatable persona you can identify with, apply to yourself. Makes the journey feel more deliberate, more guided.
And what about the whole sensory experience? You mentioned the fragrance earlier as a key part of the new album. Was there anything comparable in Mandala Melodies?
That's another crucial evolution, I think, in his artistic scope. Mandala Melodies is primarily an auditory journey. It relies solely on its soundscape to transport you into its world of cosmic harmony.
Right.
J.I.M finds the frequency, however, marks this deliberate, significant expansion into a multisensory realm, with the striking visual artwork telling its own story and that really unique olfactory experience of the J.I.M fragrance. The album deepens the immersive experience of the J.I.M world, makes it something you don't just listen to, but you see, feel, even smell. This innovative approach creates a much more comprehensive, enveloping artistic universe. Really brings the archetype to life across multiple senses.
So, okay, pulling all this together, what does this evolution really mean from Mandala Melodies to J.I.M finds the frequency?
Well, when you synthesize it all, the evolution reflects a truly significant maturation in J.I.M's artistic expression and his thematic focus. He moved from this broader, more generalized spiritual exploration, almost a universal invitation to cosmic harmony, towards a highly individualized, deeply embodied, and dynamically narrative experience. And that narrative is precisely built around the powerful and, I think, profoundly relatable J.I.M archetype. In essence, it's a journey for J.I.M and for us as listeners, from understanding those universal principles of interconnectedness to fully embodying one's unique, authentic place within that vast, interconnected web of existence.
So from knowing to being.
Exactly. It's a progression from abstract enlightenment to confident self-actualization, bringing the spiritual down to the intensely personal, the physical, making it actionable, deeply resonant for each individual listener.
That's a really insightful way to frame J.I.M's artistic evolution. So as we reflect on everything we've uncovered here about J.I.M's work, the J.I.M archetype, what truly stands out to you? It feels like this isn't just about analyzing an artist's albums, but maybe finding a powerful framework for our own lives.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. The J.I.M archetype offers this surprisingly potent and, I think, profoundly relatable framework for understanding your own journey of self-discovery.
Okay.
It gives names, it gives structure to elements of growth, creativity, self-possession that we all experience, whether we realize it or not. The album isn't just entertainment. It feels designed as a kind of mirror, reflecting facets of your own potential back at you.
So how can actually embracing these concepts, journey, ingenuity, mystique, as J.I.M explores them through his music, how can that genuinely empower us as listeners to maybe approach life's challenges differently, express our creativity, embrace our own unique presence?
Well, by identifying with the journey, you're encouraged to see your struggles, your doubts, not as failures or roadblocks, but as integral, transformative parts of your quest. Knowing that wisdom often emerges right from those shadows.
Right.
The ingenuity aspect empowers you to trust your own unique intellect, your creativity, to find clever, authentic solutions to life's puzzles, recognizing that your resourcefulness, your singular resonance, those are your most powerful tools. And embracing mystique. It reminds you that your deepest power often lies not in shouting or seeking external validation, but in quiet confidence, unwavering integrity, and that magnetic allure of just being authentically you, shedding pretense, standing unapologetically in your truth. This deep dive into Jim's work, it really provides those aha moments, doesn't it? By showing how art can distill these complex, personal, philosophical ideas into something engaging, accessible, and really motivating. Ultimately, the album isn't just something to listen to. It feels like a profound call to action.
Okay.
An invitation to shed pretense and step into your own journey with swagger and wisdom, to truly find your own frequency and live it vibrantly.
So, as you, our listener, reflect on Jim's work and this whole J.I.M. archetype we've unpacked, what does all of this mean for your journey right now?
Yeah, consider this. If finding your frequency really means aligning your creativity and your authenticity with your deepest self, and if that whole process is inherently this blend of journey, ingenuity, and mystique, what unshackled soul song are you slowly burning into existence right now, just waiting to be fully expressed?